You're watching Tri Vibes TV. Welcome back to another weekly training video. It is race week. Ironman Texas is coming up this weekend, and in today's video, we'll touch on how my training last week went. We'll touch on my training for the week ahead, the preparation for the race. Gonna go into a little bit of detail about my strategy for race day, and of course, we'll check in with Garmin and see what my training status is. All of that in today's video. I know it sounds like a lot, so right off the top, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to this video's sponsor, TriSchedule. TriSchedule is a brand new triathlon training platform that I've been using for a couple of months now, and I've really been enjoying some of the really integrated features that work with my Garmin devices, such as designing workouts on my phone and sending them to my watch very quickly. I can make changes on the go. I can even send workouts that I've created to other athletes and their watches will get the workout. I've really enjoyed scheduling these workouts with the app, and then also, of course, using the app to take a look at the activities and see my heart rate, average paces, all the stuff that you are used to seeing that your Garmin devices record. That's all pulled into the TriSchedule training app as well. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, you are in luck, because there's a link in the description below. You can click that, get started with TriSchedule, and enjoy 3 months of all of the features that the app has to offer, absolutely free. So definitely check it out. Now, I understand that this video series has been going on for more than a year. The video series started as preparation for Ironman Texas in 2025. I was able to complete the race last year, and I was so motivated by the experience that I immediately knew I wanted to spend the next year training for Ironman Texas again. So the fact that I've come all this way, more than a year of focusing on this race, to be here in race week, I am so excited. And I also truly feel like I've done a really good job spending my time wisely this last year, and I really haven't shifted my focus. So I think the combination of, getting motivated to try and race this event again, that was a very powerful decision. It was a very powerful, a very compelling thing. I really wanted to do it, and that really helped me stay focused this year. So off the top, I definitely want to thank my coach for working with me, recognizing that I wanted to try to take this more seriously than I have in the past, and giving me a training plan that really reflects where I'm at as an athlete. And that's something that I don't think is easy to get, especially if you're working with a coach who you haven't had a little bit of history with. I've been working with my coach for more than 5 years, and I really feel like he's learned along the way what works, what doesn't work for me. And I think that, barring the results, I think that I can already say hats off to him for the training plan up to this point. The prep has been fantastic. So huge shout out to him. Also, I have to thank the Powerhouse Patriots Foundation in general. The coaching and training support that I'm receiving is all coming at no cost. It is part of the wonderful things that the Powerhouse Patriots Foundation does for athletes like myself, who happen to be military veterans. I myself was in the Marine Corps for 5 years. So that sort of program and that support that I get through the Powerhouse Patriots is phenomenal as well. So I really wanted to get all that out of the way before diving into last week's training. There's not too much to talk about actually with my training last week. This is the taper period. I didn't have any crazy training sessions, but just to stick to the format here, I'd love to go through just last week's training briefly, and then I'll move on to some of the more exciting stuff about race day strategy and things like that nature. So looking at last week's training, on Monday, the day after Easter, I did a very long, very easy bike ride. Took me about 4 hours, 45 minutes riding time. It was more like 6 hours of totally elapsed time. And I really just enjoyed that last long day in the saddle, even though I wasn't riding at Ironman pace, even though I didn't spend most of the time in the aero position. I enjoyed just getting out and riding my bike, enjoying that fitness, and also the mental strength to, be able to ride my bike for 5 hours and not have it really faze me too much. Monday was also a nice training day because after that long ride, I got to go and do yoga, and it was one of the better yoga classes I've had in a while. Really enjoyed that. So Monday was a solid training day. On Tuesday, I had my final interval ride. It was a 15-minute zone 3 set, a 10-minute zone 4 set, and a 5-minute zone 5 effort. Off that ride, I did a 20-minute brick run, and I had a pretty nice brick run after that ride, about just under 9 minutes per mile. Not trying to go too fast, just trying to keep things easy right now. And of course, I also did my strength training on Tuesday morning. On Wednesday, I had an interval run with some 10K paced intervals, which I was a little bit nervous to do. I haven't run much faster than about 7:30 per mile in probably like 12 weeks. Like, so it was a little bit of a shock to the system, but not as bad as I thought it would be. 5 by 3 minutes at 10K pace, and I was trying to put myself somewhere between about 6:50 and 7:10. Like, I knew that was going to be hard for me, but first one took it a little bit easier, 7:19 average. Second one, 7:06, and then I nailed the rest of them. 7:06, 7:06. I like found my stride pretty quickly. And then the last one I really tried to push to get 6:59, but the best I can get is 6 minutes and 60-second pace. So I thought that was awesome. Maybe just a little note here. And at the end of the day, that was a big confidence booster for me because my body reacted to that pretty nicely, and I didn't feel too crazy afterwards. Faster average pace than most of my current runs because I'm running faster on those intervals. So Wednesday was the last I would consider real day of training. I mean, I had some intervals on Wednesday, but starting on Thursday, I had my strength session in the morning and then a 40-minute easy ride. I went for a walk, and that was, an easy day on Thursday. Friday, I took completely off, which was mentally challenging. I actually really struggled a little bit with the idea of not going to the pool, not going to the gym, and it was kind of raining out, and I ended up caving in the end and riding my gravel bike very easily around the neighborhood for about 30 minutes. I just could not handle the idea of like not getting out the door and doing something, although I wouldn't necessarily call that training. Saturday, though, I did have a workout on my plan, 6-mile run, my long run. Coming off of a 19-mile run very recently, this 6 miles felt fantastic. Just as I was starting to get warmed up, it was time to stop. And average heart rate was a little bit higher. It was a little bit warmer, but ripped that 6 miles off, no problem. And on Sunday, had my final long ride. I did a 3-hour, 15-minute total elapsed time adventure with some really good friends, some other athletes who are training for Ironman Texas, and we got together and did what we call a taco ride, where we ride our bikes and then go eat breakfast tacos. So really awesome day yesterday doing that ride with my friends. And it was a great way to wrap up what I consider a pretty successful block of training. Enjoyed those breakfast tacos and the company for sure this week. So looking at next week's training, this is really more of a taper. So today I had a 1,000-yard swim. I'm going to go yoga tonight. Tomorrow I just have this like 30-minute run with some 4-minute threshold intervals. I think this is really just to kind of keep my feet moving and get my heart rate up a little bit tomorrow. So no ride. I'm going to be spending the day tomorrow most likely just getting my bike set up for race day, swapping out race wheels, cleaning everything up, cleaning the chain, getting it like tuned up, ready to go. And then on Wednesday, I have a 30-minute test ride where I'll go out and just make sure everything is working correctly, check the brakes, check the shifting, enjoy riding around on those race wheels a little bit, and just get that sort of everything works confidence in my bike, because I'm not going to be riding my bike from that point until Saturday morning for 112 miles. So important. I wouldn't necessarily call it training, but very important things to do in preparation for race day. So even though I'm not spending as much time training per se this week, I'm spending a lot of time prepping for everything this week. On Thursday, no training to be seen, and that is because I am going to be going up to the Woodlands to do my packet pickup. I want to go up early on Thursday and get that knocked out. There is a pro panel at 1 p.m. at the host hotel. I didn't go to that last year. It wasn't even on my radar last year, honestly, but the amount of professional triathletes that are coming together to race in the Woodlands this weekend, I really want to attend that press conference. It would be, I think it'll be something I'll really enjoy. So I'm going to try to get all checked in the morning, race briefing done, go to the pro press conference, and then after that, drive back home. I'm not staying up there until Friday night. So Thursday will be an exciting day. I'll try to capture some video footage for the YouTube channel here. Really looking forward to Thursday and packing all my bags on Thursday night. On Friday morning, I'm hoping to have all the packing done so I can just focus on. I have this short 20-minute practice swim to do. I think ideally that would be done up in Lake Woodlands, but I'm not going to be up there, so I'll probably just go to the pool. I have a presentation to attend for my son's Gifted and Talented program in the morning, and then as soon as that's done, I'm planning on driving straight up to the Woodlands to do my bag drop and bike check-in, and then finally checking into the hotel. And that'll be it. It'll be time to race on Saturday morning. So that's what the rest of my week looks like. Real brief touch on the Garmin Connect. Got to touch on Garmin here, and I have arrived in recovery training status here. And we'll see if the Garmin gods or the Garmin fairy, whatever you want to call it, the Easter Bunny of Garmin, decides to bless me with the coveted peaking training status. Now that I've said it out loud, I might have gypped it or jinxed it a little bit, but you know what? I'm going to be okay, even if Garmin doesn't give me that purple, beautiful peaking training status. So we'll be good. Got to stay hydrated. I think that's everything that I normally cover. What I'd love to do really briefly now is just walk through sort of my strategy and my approach for the race. And this is not going to be a huge in-depth thing. I'm going to try to keep it brief. Basically, I just want to make sure that I wake up with enough time to have breakfast. I want to be able to get to the swim start with enough time to feel comfortable and not rushed. I'm going to have my swim suit ready to go in case it's not wetsuit legal. So I'll have a wetsuit and a swimsuit ready to go. I'm going to try to seed myself probably in the 1 hour, 20-minute range for my expected finish time. My finish time last year in the swim was right about 1:15. I've done 2 practice swims this season, and both of them were closer to 90 minutes. However, I'm a little anxious to seed myself that far back. I feel like I should land somewhere between 1:15 and 1:30. So I think that 1:20 is probably where I want to be. Hoping to get through the swim without taking any water into my body. I really want to minimize any intake of the Lake Woodlands water. I know a lot of athletes have struggled with some bacteria and things like that. So I'm going to have earplugs in, I'm going to have my goggles, my swim cap, and I'm going to really try to be vigilant about making sure my mouth is clear of the surface of the water. I'm also hoping to focus on just being aware of my surroundings during the swim and not swimming into someone's ankles or heels, and being prepared to be pushed around a little bit, slapped around a little bit, maybe grabbed, maybe poked, maybe tickled. It sort of comes along with the territory, and I have a feeling that the bulk of people in my age group are probably going to be right around the same 1:20 seed time. So I'm expecting it to be a little bit choppy and a little bit rough, but at the end of the day, if I can get through this swim without taking in a bunch of lake water, without getting a bloody nose or banged up, if I know that I can get to that last mile of it, when you start seeing all the people on the side of actually, this is what the picture behind me, this is a picture of the swim course at Ironman Texas. And I tell you what, once you get to this point where you're swimming in the canal, it's all downhill. Like, you have like hundreds of people cheering for you. It's going to be great. So hopping out of the water, I'm not going to have my cycling bib on at all. I'm going to wear my little Marine Corps green short shorts underneath my wetsuit. I'm going to jog up in my little short shorts straight into the changing tent. I'm going to rip those short shorts off. I'm going to put my cycling kit on. I am not going to care about vanity here. I'm going to utilize that changing tent 100%. Go man spread my stuff out and just like do my thing. And hopefully in transition, I'm going to get a dry pair of bike what are they called? Bib, a dry cycling bib on my body with some chamois butter applied right there on the spot. Then I'm going to get my top on. I'm going to get my top loaded up with all of my nutrition. I'm going to have about 10 or 12 gels to be putting in my kit, 2 salt shakers, and the rest of my nutrition is going to be on the bottles on my bike. So once I get all that kit on, I'm going to try to get out on the road. First bottle station is about 45 minutes into the ride. My goal is to have 1 bottle of my fuel all the way down so I can ditch it and pick up a bottle of water at the very first aid station. That's going to be very key for me to get that first bottle in and to get a bottle of water at the first aid station. It's really key to my plan. Want to keep rolling through that. 1 bottle of e-fuel with 4 scoops per 30-minute every hour. And then, so I'm going to break up my hours where the first 30 minutes I'm taking in that bottle of e-fuel. Second 30 minutes I'm taking in 2 e-gels and a bottle of water. So 1 bottle of e-fuel, 1 bottle of water, and 2 gels per hour is my bike nutrition plan. I'm also going to be supplementing my electrolytes with base electrolyte salt from a salt shaker. So that's my plan. Last year I rode about 535 with a couple of slowdowns because I was having trouble using the bathroom while rolling last year. Hopefully I can be using the bathroom a little bit more efficiently this year. And my coach told me, he didn't whisper, but he told me that he thought I might be able to ride closer to 5 hours and 10 minutes. Honestly, anything between 5 hours, 10 minutes, which would be incredible. Anything between 5:10 and even 6:10, like anything in that ballpark, 6 hours or under, I think is going to set me up for success. So maybe I'll be faster than I think, but I'm really going to try to pace myself on the bike, shoot for around 200, 205 watts, and just see where that gets me. Try to keep my heart rate under 140 if I can as well. So that's going to be the limiting factor. We'll keep an eye on that heart rate. Onto the run. Last year, when I finished the 112 mile bike course, it was a bittersweet victory because I felt like I had survived one of the most challenging bike rides I'd ever done. I was proud that I hadn't stopped my bike at any point. I'd managed to do everything I needed to do while I was rolling, which was, a step forward for me because at Ironman Florida, I did have to get off my bike at least, I think, twice. But I could barely walk when I got to the Mount line last year at Ironman Texas. Like my feet just were throbbing. My shoulders were completely destroyed. Like my body was having trouble just walking. So hopefully this year, when I roll into transition, I'll be feeling a little bit fresher. And that is going to be a very key moment for me, getting off the bike, I think. I think that's going to be like one of the most anticipated moments of the day is going to be that moment because I'll be done with that ride and I'm going to really understand how set up I am to be able to run a marathon. And I would love to be able to run a marathon this year rather than walk a marathon the way that I did last year at Ironman Texas. I'm very proud of my 6 hour, 32-minute run split from last year. I wouldn't change it. It was a fantastic experience. But I think that the paces that I've been training off the bike and in my long runs, I could be looking at running closer to 4 hours, a little bit over 4 hours, maybe a little bit under. So that all being said, nutrition on the run, 2 packets of e-gel at least per hour. I'm going to try to carry some of them with me and put the rest of them in my special needs bag on the run course. And then I'm going to hit up aid stations as much as possible, maybe start taking some of the electrolyte drinks. I pretty much tried everything last year at the race at Ironman Texas, and none of it messed up my stomach. So I'm not really afraid of it, and I plan on leaning into the aid stations a little bit more if I start to fade, start drinking Coca-Cola, things like that, just whatever I need to sort of get me moving again. But yeah, I think that's just about it. One other detail about the run, it's 3 loops, so I really want to try to be very patient, especially on my first and second loop. I really have to remind myself that there's a lot of work to be done. Even if I'm feeling great in the first few miles, I really need to temper that feeling and resist the urge to run faster than I've been training. I certainly don't want that to happen, but I just need to stay patient. I think I need to make sure I keep something up my sleeve, so to speak, for the final lap, the final 8 miles. I think if I'm just patient for the first 2 laps, I'll feel a little bit more comfortable leaning into, maybe pushing a little bit harder, maybe running a little bit faster. As I get closer to the end of the race, I'm more and more comfortable with the idea of sort of trying to go for it, dump it out, like really try to just, see what I can do, those type of thoughts. If I get to that place, I'll be ecstatic to be in a place where I can feel that way that far into the day. So as you can see, I'm saying all of this with a little bit of trepidation. I think it's important to visualize your race day, but it's also really important to recognize that, anything can happen and that it's going to be what you do after the thing happens that really makes the difference. So that is, I think, everything that I can say right now about my prep for the race. Final note, I went and saw my sports chiropractor and my nutrition specialist, Dr. Roxanne Erdington here in the Houston area, has been helping me for years with my Ironman training nutrition. Not necessarily my nutrition during my training, but more like what I'm eating around the clock outside of training, which has been a really big game changer for me. So she gave me some good words of advice. I got a little bit of adjustment done, a little bit at my neck. She pulled my hip a little bit, popped my hip a little bit, just kind of got everything lined up, and did a DEXA scan that measured my basically the breakdown of my body of like fat and muscle and all those things. So good news. I'd like to end on a positive note. I've lost about 3 pounds of body fat since mid-February when I last saw her, and I've gained about 0.2 pounds of muscle. That might not sound like a lot of muscle to gain, but the key is that I didn't lose any muscle during the peak phase of my training. Okay, so I was able to do a lot of really long 4+ hour rides, a lot of long 15+ mile, 12 mile plus runs, all this stuff. And I didn't actually lose any of my muscle mass in the process, which is very common. I think largely in part to the amount of protein that I'm eating and the amount of strength training that I've been doing. So I've been able to put on a little bit of muscle building up to the race, and always nice to shed a couple of pounds of body fat. I think I got about 20 extra pounds that I could get rid of. I got all my ice cream here on board, ready to power me through the day. So, now I feel like I've said everything, and it feels good. So thank you so much for listening to this, having this platform, having this channel, and having the routine of talking about my training has really been a tremendous thing. It's really helped me out a lot. And if I've been able to help anyone who might be watching this, whether just getting their, wrapping their mind around doing an Ironman, or you're someone that's, trying to figure out a PR and looking for answers, or even if you're not a triathlete at all and you just kind of wonder what the heck goes into, one of these events, that is really what I'm trying to provide here. And, it's been a process I've really enjoyed. So next time I check in, it'll be after the race. And I'm really looking forward to talking through that next Monday. So please go ahead, stick around, check that out. If you have anything you'd like to say in the comments, please go ahead and put it. Appreciate all the support, and can't wait to tell you about how Ironman Texas goes in the next video. Thanks again. Have a good one. I'll see you on the other side.